Hello, I'm Betty Yee, and I am running for governor of California, and I am democracy. Thank you to Kenny and Robert for just opening up this special place here in the North Coast, where we know that democracy is always welcome. And I know you're all facing me, but let me tell you what a beautiful sight it is right in front of me. It is really the embodiment of what we are all here to do. And we talk about democracy a lot as a form of government, particularly as we see what's happening around the world, and certainly what's happening right here at home at this time. And as I think about democracy, all of you know this, and we are going to be models of this. And that is, it's not just a form of government, but it's about how we continue to engage, how we continue to serve, and how we continue to be in action. And as I stand here just thinking about why this particular time now in history, because after all, our country's been under threat before, right? We remember the time when Abraham Lincoln was elected as President of the United States, and right before he was sworn in, we had 7 states secede from the Union, because they thought he was going to undermine slavery. And what we saw at that time was also some major, major acts of the Reformation Acts, the 13th and 14th Amendment, that actually came to abolish slavery, that came to put in place, what citizenship meant, and that we all had a right to due process. But never at that time was there a thought that our democracy was going to be undermined. Yes, states seceded from the nation, but democracy was still alive and well. Fast forward 100 years later, all of us remember the Watergate scandal, and we saw the worst of corruption in our executive of this country. And when it was discovered that our sitting president was actually deeply involved in that corruption, he was pressured to resign, even from members of his own party, who put nation and country over party loyalty. And so we saw then that democracy was alive and well. Fast forward to today, less than 100 years later, 47 years later, we saw, and the whole world witnessed, the January 6th insurrection on our nation's capital. And why this is so important now, and I don't know about you, but I haven't been able to sleep since January 6th of 2021, because you can't believe that this is happening right now. For all of the work, for all of the fights, for all of the struggles that we have all been involved in terms of building this nation, of continuing to perfect our union, that this is happening in our very country. And it is all being run by a very vocal and active minority. And I want to remind you of that, a very active and vocal minority. And we have allowed this to happen. And so we've kind of taken our eyes off the prize of democracy and just what we have fought so hard to protect and to be sure that we're upholding. And as I think about why this has happened today and why it's so hard to fight, to continue to uphold it and continue to protect it, well, we have people who are actually occupying our offices who don't believe in country over party. They're actually in the very halls of Congress and in our state governments, making laws that are just really trying to undermine the very foundation of our democracy, especially the pillar of free and fair elections. We are very blessed to be here in California, where every day we wake up, we know we are home to some of the strongest laws across the nation, as it relates to voting rights, as it relates to our environmental protection, as it relates to reproductive freedom, as it relates to gun safety and gun violence laws. We are so fortunate to be here in California. But make no mistake, there is a vocal minority right here, even in our Golden State. We just had to fight Shasta County to reinstitute voting machines this year. And there are many, many other parts of California that are going to be under threat because we know that there are those to the far right who understand that if you undermine elections, that pretty much begins the crumbling of our democracy. And we all know the Project 2025 document. And regardless of who wins this election in November, and I do believe that we will prevail, that this will be the agenda. This will be the ongoing agenda of the far right. And so our work is never done. Our work is never done. And so what do we have to do? What we have to do is to be sure that those who are actually feeling that their quality of life has slipped away from them are being embraced by all of us. These are the disenfranchised who are looking for another way. And that other way is about a different kind of government. And it's about a government that isn't welcoming. It's about a government of those who just feel like the system has been rigged against them. It's a government where they have found a leader who gives voice to all of what they're feeling that they've been left behind. And so when we talk about democracy and why we can say we are democracy, it's because we embrace one another. We know that everyone is welcomed at the table. And we also know that as officials like Chris and myself and others who are serving in office, that we have to deliver for each and every one of us in all of our communities. That no one gets left behind, because that is really the beginning of when we see the forces against us begin to work. And so as we celebrate democracy, as we look at how we are going to continue this work into this election, and I dare say that we are going to work very hard over the next less than 40 days to be sure that we are victorious in November. But when we do this, we have to call out at every turn, whether it's right here in California, across this nation, that whenever democracy is under attack, we must stand up. We must stand up. We have to be sure that free and fair elections laws are strengthened throughout this country. We have to be sure that everyone has a shot at participating in our democracy and not sitting at the sidelines. And those that are sitting at the sidelines, reach out and pull them in. Because this is what makes our state just so wonderfully diverse, and why it's a beacon of hope for everyone else around this country. Because we do this at every turn. And particularly those who have been marginalized, who have been disenfranchised. And after all, when we talk about service and action, and certainly political leadership, this is what it's about. And so I just want to say to all of you, thank you for being democracy. And I want to just also say that I hope that you will join me in just putting your hand over your heart, because I do think there's a different pledge that we need to say. And I will lead you in this. My name is, and state your name, and I am democracy. I am democracy because I am of the people for whom individual freedoms to assemble, to associate, to own personal property, to worship, to express views, and to vote are respected. I am democracy because I live in a society where I respect the human and civil rights of others, and my human and civil rights are respected. I am democracy because I support and staunchly defend free and fair elections. I am democracy because I embrace diversity and inclusion. I am democracy because I take responsibility for learning about the lived histories of our people. And I am democracy because I am free to be myself. Brothers and sisters, this is the fight that we are in. This is a far-right war against ourselves. And so are you ready to stand with me to defend democracy? Are you ready to be sure that we turn out every vote for this November election? Are you with me to call out every injustice that we witness so that we be sure that those who are disenfranchised, who are marginalized, who are being othered, are going to continue to be a part of our communities? And are you ready to see a woman be in charge of the state of California? Let's get to work. Thank you.